Hello, good evening, viewers, and welcome to your favorite medical show, Ask Dr. Saw. We're coming to you live from TBN Studios right here in Georgetown. And I just want to say thank you to every one of you that came out back and supported us on the show and bringing you this information about health. And the numbers are amazing. And myself and Dr. Saw, it's with much gratitude that we say thank you so much for sharing this information, because as you know, I remember growing up from a very small boy, you always hear health is wealth. So let us all be rich in health. Good evening, Dr. Saw, and welcome. Thank you for joining us from England again.
Thank you, Akash, and good evening to you and the viewers.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Saw, we were back last week on this platform, and the numbers are amazing. We have quite a number of questions to ask in the second segment. So I'll be getting to those questions very soon in the next segment. But for tonight, we are talking about heartburn, acid reflux, and reflux symptoms. So I want to get straight into it, because I know a lot of people have suffered with this. From, I think, maybe once or twice I've had some instances where I've tasted this bad taste in my mouth, and thankfully I don't have that. So I can imagine people who are going through this. So in starting, Doc, I want to ask you, what is acid reflux and what causes it?
Okay, lovely. Yeah, no, good question. I mean, you're right. Every one of us at some point would have acid reflux time and again. It is estimated that about 25 to, some data has shown, 25 to 40% of the U.S. population have had reflux at least once a month. And 7 to 10% of the population would have had reflux on a daily basis.
Wow.
So if we talk about 300 plus million people, close to 10% would have reflux on a daily basis. 30 million plus people would have reflux. So it's a very common condition, and we see that. I see that a lot in patients coming in with, and of course it manifests a lot of time with chest pains, and of course that's always a red flag for patients. But what is acid reflux? And by definition, it would be reflux of gastric juices into the esophagus, or a backflow of gastric juices into the esophagus. So if we just put a picture of, Robert, to put a picture of the gastric tract,
yes,
and I'll show where the esophagus is, so from the mouth, and where you come down into the gullet or the esophagus, and then you have the stomach. You guys can see that.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it's there, Doc. Yes, you can see it.
Yeah, so the stomach, and you see in between the stomach, the esophagus pierces through the diaphragm.
Yes.
And that's where the stomach is below that. So above the diaphragm is that separation between the chest and the abdomen. That's called the diaphragm. The esophagus comes down all the way to the diaphragm, then it enters the diaphragm and into the stomach. Now, so usually at the bottom of that esophagus, you have a sphincter. It's like a muscle, and it's got a tone. So it's a right. So we call that sphincter. And the sphincter closes to prevent acid. Remember, the stomach is quite acidic. And that's where all the digestion and all the juices, all the juices get in there. Now, if that sphincter is weakened in some way, you would have a backflow or regurgitation of acid into the esophagus. So that is actually the mechanism, and that's why we get, most of the cases, that is why we get acid reflux. It is because of backflow or regurgitation of the gastric juices, which is acidic, into the esophagus. And usually it's caused by weakening or weakness of the sphincter.
That's right.
There is not maintained. And it is not as simple as that. It's a little bit more complex. Not only the sphincter can be weakened for